Welcome to Beyond L&D, presented by NorthPass. I'm your host, Peter, and today I'm joined by Aislinn Malszecki, the Manager of Online Learning Strategy at Mars Discovery District. Thanks for joining us today, Aislinn.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you start with telling us a little bit about you and a little bit about Mars Discovery District.
My journey in online learning has kind of spanned over 10 years. I've worked with an advisory firm helping new ed tech companies come to market in Canada, and more recently joined Mars Discovery District. And Mars is an innovation hub located in Toronto. It's actually the world's largest urban innovation hub, and we work with over 1,200 ventures that are both tech and science-based across 4 different industries, designing kind of the future of advisory work in Toronto, and thinking about how to bring entrepreneurship education and training really to more parts of Canada and kind of more parts of the world too.
Yeah, and that's a huge initiative to try to bring entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship education to that many people all around the world. So can you talk a little bit about why online learning is so important to you and why it's your mission to provide this learning to so many people?
The vision of Mars really was to think about how could we create economic and social impact in Toronto and in kind of that region. So online training has been a natural extension for what we do, and it's really in kind of the DNA of our vision, which is kind of really bringing new tools, new skills, and new capabilities to founders and entrepreneurs that are building kind of the next generation of startups and companies, and really kind of making an impact on the world. So we think about how could we extend the work of an advisor that works directly with companies and bring out and distill like those great lessons, those unique insights that you would get working for years within the startup environment. So what we do online is really kind of bring out those unique insights and really kind of think about how could this be applicable to more entrepreneurs and practical as well. There's a lot of great lessons to be learned in kind of all areas of business.
And what you're trying to do is so meaningful because you're trying to connect people who have done things before, and you're also connecting them to founders who have weaknesses and haven't done it before, and you're sort of combining the two to create this relationship that's really been lacking for so long. The problem that I see is founders and startups are so busy. People just say they never have time. How do you get these people to make time for learning?
Entrepreneurs that we work with are super busy, so we try and think about how to design online training and modules that are flexible and stackable and kind of asynchronous that you could do at any time of the day. And so online training has really kind of enabled our advisors and our expertise and kind of operators to take the best lessons they've learned from business and really bring those back to life through some of this training.
So you deal with a unique problem. Like you said, someone that you're training might take a course at 1 in the morning or 1 in the afternoon when most people can train their typical workforce from 9 to 5. So with that in mind, what does success look like to you?
We think about success in really 2 ways. So one is thinking about how are entrepreneurs, how are founders really engaging with the content? And we measure that through a lot of the analytics tools that are available through NorthPass, and really think about how are people clicking through this experience. The other thing that we look at is, really, are they able to share this with other founders? Like, what's the NPS score? What's their overall satisfaction? So, and we interview them too. So we think about when we go in and we'll talk to founders from different groups about how their experience, turned out and what they were able to do with that training.
Yeah, and a lot of people, they kind of take their training and they almost set it and forget it. But it sounds like you're accumulating a lot of data. How do you actually take that data and make something actionable about it to improve your online training?
So data is the most important thing for us. We started in an organization that was founded by scientists, and kind of the scientific method and kind of experimentation is really deeply embedded into what we do. So data is kind of the lifeblood of our work online, and we use a lot of the data from from how long someone watched a video to how the length of a course to inform future course design decisions. And we intake a lot of different data points, probably too much data that we could use, but we definitely use it in really planning out courses, and it's really kind of shaped our work in several ways. So
yeah, I think people have said there's no such thing as too much data. So I don't know if you could say too much data, but I think people are really interested in your background. There's a lot of people who are getting into learning and development that work at startups, and you've taught startups. What advice would you give to someone who's maybe kicking off a learning initiative at an early stage company?
At Mars, what we did is we started really small. We thought about one kind of skill that we wanted to bring to our founders and to the clients at Mars, and really kind of grew it from there. So my advice is really to think about what's the smallest possible thing you could test, and I think NorthPass has been a really great tool for us to really kind of manifest those ideas and bring those, to bring those tests to life in 1 or 2 days. What's the kind of shortest amount of time and the kind of smallest tests you can do? I think beyond that, really it's about identifying what are your objectives. We're fortunate to work with instructional designers who are able to really understand what the learner is doing and what they already know. And where they're going. So what they need to do to accomplish a goal or to overcome an objective. So that's really kind of where our strategy lies, is thinking about the learning objectives, as well as what's kind of small tests that we can create that will accomplish some of those goals.
I think that's great advice for anyone getting started in online training. And we've talked a lot about the past, we talked a lot about the present, but I want to know, what gets you excited about the future of training at Mars?
I'm excited about Mars really building out more courses and really thinking about how do we bridge the physical and the digital. We still do a lot of in-person training and a lot of workshops in the Mars Center, and really the future for us now, the near future, is really thinking about how can we bring more of those in-person workshops and make them accessible to more entrepreneurs around Canada and around the world. Where I think we're going is we are really thinking about how do we automate some of those questions that come through that are kind of frequently asked questions. And so we are putting together a database of potential responses and really kind of going in that direction. So for us, conversational interfaces are really interesting, and we're starting to mix those into more of our training set of tools. It's kind of a mixture of really understanding the offline, online setting, and understanding how to translate some of those lessons that are so powerful in person and bring those to a digital environment, and really kind of pull the levers that digital offers, especially around community, connection, conversation, and then really kind of interfacing to more automated responses to questions that come through. And I think that's kind of an exciting area for us, and it doesn't take away from the actual training experience. I think it's more around creating an on-demand environment digitally for that next gen of entrepreneurs that have questions about their business or have questions about their market, and we are able to provide those responses right away.
Well, Aislinn, thanks for taking the time to sit down and chat with us and share a little bit about your background and some of your industry knowledge.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.